Question 1. For each statement below, indicate whether it is true or false. Power Pages provides customizable templates and a visual design studio to speed up website creation. True. Microsoft Copilot Studio combines GPTs, AI plugins, and manual topics for building agents. True. Power BI requires users to manage their own security and governance features. False. Power Apps only connects to cloud data sources and cannot access on-premises data. False. Now that we have gone through the answers, let's move on to the explanation. First, Power Pages is designed to make website building easier by offering ready-to-use templates and a visual studio, so it's true that it speeds up development. Likewise, Microsoft Copilot Studio really does integrate GPTs, AI plugins, and manual topics, which allows developers to create conversational agents more efficiently. So that is also true. On the other hand, Power BI actually comes with built-in governance and security tools, meaning users don't have to build or manage these features on their own, which makes the statement false. Finally, Power Apps can connect not only to cloud data sources, but also to on-premises systems through connectors like the on-premises data gateway, so the statement saying it only connects to cloud is false. This way, each answer fits logically with how Microsoft's Power Platform tools are designed and used in real-world scenarios. Question 2. A manufacturing company wants to predict equipment failures before they happen to reduce downtime. They want this capability built into workflows and apps without requiring developers to write complex AI code. Which tools should they use? Select one answer. A. PowerFX. B. Power BI. C. Managed environments. D. AI Builder. The correct answer is D. AI Builder. Now let's move into the explanation. AI Builder is the right choice because it provides no-code AI features like predictions and classification that can be integrated directly into apps and workflows. For example, in manufacturing, AI Builder can analyze sensor data and predict when a machine is likely to fail, helping reduce costly downtime. In contrast, PowerFX is mainly a low-code language used for formulas and logic, so it doesn't handle AI predictions. Similarly, Power BI is excellent for visualizing and analyzing data, but it doesn't embed predictive AI directly into workflows. Finally, managed environments focus on governance and compliance, not on predictive intelligence. Therefore, AI Builder is the best tool for enabling predictive capabilities without requiring complex coding. Question 3. Fill in the blanks by selecting the correct options from the drop-down menus. Dataverse supports scheduled synchronization with external systems, data transformation, using Power Query, and one-time imports from sources such as Excel files. Now let's move into the explanation. Scheduled synchronization is correct because it allows Dataverse to automatically update data with external systems such as CRM solutions. Likewise, data transformation is accurate since Power Query is used to clean and format the data during the import process. In addition, one-time imports make sense as they allow users to upload data from external sources like Excel spreadsheets. On the other hand, options like offline caching, audit logging, or API calls do not fit here. Offline caching simply helps with app usage without a live connection. Audit logging is about tracking security and compliance, not integration. And while API calls are valid in technical integrations, they are not the features described in this context. Therefore, the correct sequence is scheduled synchronization, data transformation, and one-time imports. Question 4. Which benefit of PowerFX ensures that applications and solutions can continue to meet evolving business needs? Select one answer. A. Offline synchronization. B. Form validation. C. Scalability. D. Roll-up fields. The correct answer is C. Scalability. Now let's move into the explanation. Scalability is the correct answer because PowerFX allows apps and solutions to grow and adapt over time as business requirements change. For example, a company may start with a small app for managing employee requests and later expand it to handle thousands of users without rewriting the entire logic. Meanwhile, offline synchronization is a feature of Power Apps working with Dataverse, but it's not related to scalability. Similarly, form validation only enforces input accuracy, not long-term growth. Lastly, roll-up fields aggregate data in Dataverse, but don't ensure that solutions can scale across applications. Therefore, scalability is the key benefit of PowerFX for supporting evolving business needs. Question 5. Arrange the steps of automating email attachment handling with Power Automate in the correct order. Instruction. Drag and drop the items into the correct order, starting with the first step at the top. The correct sequence is: user receives email, detect incoming email with attachment, save attachment to SharePoint or OneDrive folder, reduce manual time spent on repetitive tasks. Now let's move into the explanation. The process begins when the user first receives an email in their inbox. Power Automate then monitors and detects whether that incoming email contains an attachment. Once the attachment is identified, it is automatically saved to a designated SharePoint or OneDrive folder. As a result, the need for manual downloading and filing is eliminated, which ultimately reduces the amount of time spent on repetitive tasks. This automation demonstrates how Power Automate streamlines everyday workflows by turning simple tasks into efficient, hands-free processes. Question 6. For each benefit of the on-premises data gateway, drag it to its description. Each item may be used once, more than once, or not at all. Connects cloud tools to local systems for hybrid workflows. Correct match is seamless integration. Reduces manual effort through automation and real-time data access. Correct match is improved efficiency. Protects sensitive data with encryption and secure communication. Correct match is enhanced security. Supports expanding workflows as business needs grow. Correct match is scalability. Now let's move into the explanation. Seamless integration is correct because the on-premises data gateway enables cloud services like Power Apps or Power Automate to securely connect with on-premises systems, creating hybrid workflows. Improved efficiency fits since the gateway automates repetitive tasks and allows real-time data access, cutting down on manual effort. Enhanced security is right because the gateway uses encryption and secure communication to protect sensitive data in transit. Finally, scalability is accurate as the gateway supports business growth, allowing more workflows to be handled as needs expand. Unused items like incident reporting and data visualization are not applicable here. Incident reporting relates more to Power Apps use cases, while data visualization is a Power BI function, not a gateway capability. Question 7. Which two Power Platform services can use the on-premises data gateway to connect to local systems? Select two answers. A. Power Apps. B. Power BI. C. Microsoft Teams. D. Power Pages. The correct answers are A. Power Apps and B. Power BI. Let's break this down clearly. Power Apps works with the on-premises data gateway because it allows apps to connect securely to local databases, giving users access to critical business data without moving it to the cloud. In the same way, Power BI depends on the gateway to fetch and refresh reports directly from on-premises data, ensuring that analytics stay current and reliable. In contrast, Microsoft Teams is mainly a communication and collaboration platform and does not rely on the gateway for data access. Similarly, Power Pages focuses on building external-facing web portals and is not listed as a supported gateway service. That's why the two correct answers here are Power Apps and Power BI. Question 8. Fill in the blanks by selecting the correct options from the drop-down menus. The Plan Designer generates entity relationship diagrams to show how data tables are connected and allows iterative refinement to adjust solutions to business needs. Here's why this is correct. Entity relationship diagrams are essential because they visually organize how data tables relate to one another, making it easier for designers and stakeholders to understand the structure of the solution. Refinement fits perfectly here, since it represents the process of continuously improving and adjusting solutions based on feedback and evolving business requirements. Other options don't apply in this context. Automation refers to workflows rather than solution adjustments. Dashboards are created in Power BI, not by the Plan Designer. And deployment is more about launching solutions, while the focus here is on designing and refining them. so that the right combination is entity relationship diagrams and refinement. Question 9. A university is designing a student enrollment system using Dataverse. Each student can register for multiple courses, and each course can have many students. Which relationship type should they use? Select one answer. A, one-to-many N. B, many-to-many NN. C, parent-child hierarchy. D, single record lookup. The correct answer is B, many-to-many NN. Here's the reasoning. Many-to-many is the correct relationship type because it allows multiple students to be linked to multiple courses through an intersect table. This is exactly how enrollment works in real life, where one student may take 5 different courses, and each of those courses could have hundreds of students. One-to-many, however, only covers one record linked to many others, but it doesn't allow for the two-way association needed here. Parent-child hierarchy applies to structured hierarchical data, such as organizational charts, not course enrollment. Single record lookup links just one row to another row, which is too limited for this scenario. Therefore, the best choice is many-to-many, as it perfectly models student course enrollment relationships. Question 10. For each Dataverse import or export scenario, drag the correct tool from the item list to the appropriate description in the correct match column. Each item may be used once, more than once, or not at all. Imports multiple tables at once from CSV, TXT, XML, or Excel. Correct match is Data Import Wizard. Imports data into a single table using a predefined template within model-driven apps. Correct match is Import from Excel in model-driven apps. Provides a basic import option from Excel or CSV in Power Apps Maker Portal with no support for relationships or choice values. Correct match is Import from Excel in Power Apps Maker Portal. Exports up to 100,000 rows to Excel with static, dynamic, or dynamic pivot table options. Correct match is Export from Excel in model-driven apps. Continuously replicates Dataverse data into Azure for analytics and warehousing. Correct match is Azure Synapse Link. Let's make sense of this. The Data Import Wizard is the right tool for bulk imports across multiple tables and supports advanced formats like XML and zip. Import from Excel in model-driven apps is simpler, focusing on structured imports into a single table using predefined templates. The Maker Portal import is even more basic, limited to flat data without choice values or relationships. Export from Excel in model-driven apps enables up to 100,000 rows with live connectivity features such as dynamic pivot tables. Finally, Azure Synapse Link ensures continuous replication of Dataverse data for advanced analytics and large-scale warehousing. Unused items like firewall rules and Azure Active Directory don't fit here, since they relate to security and identity management rather than data import or export. Question 11. A business analyst needs to export sales data from Dataverse into Excel for analysis. They attempt to export 250,000 rows but encounter restrictions. What is the maximum number of rows that can be exported at once using Export to Excel in model-driven apps? Select one answer. A, 25,000 rows. B, 50,000 rows. C, 100,000 rows. D, 1,000,000 rows. The correct answer is C, 100,000 rows. Here's the explanation. The export limit for Excel in model-driven apps is capped at 100,000 rows. This means while the analyst may try exporting 250,000 rows, the system will stop them at that threshold. Options like 25,000 or 50,000 are lower than the actual supported maximum, so they are incorrect. On the other hand, 1,000,000 rows is far beyond the supported limit and cannot be achieved directly with the standard export feature. Therefore, the right answer is 100,000 rows, which represents the maximum number supported for Excel exports from Dataverse model-driven apps. Question 12. Fill in the blanks by selecting the correct options from the drop-down menus. The Microsoft Trust Center provides information about Power Platform's compliance certifications, while the Data Protection Addendum outlines how customer data is processed and protected. Here's why this is correct. The Microsoft Trust Center is designed to give transparency into Microsoft's compliance, security, and privacy practices. It's where organizations can review details about certifications, audit reports, and trust-related information. On the other hand, the Data Protection Addendum is a legally binding document that specifically defines how Microsoft processes and safeguards customer data, ensuring compliance with privacy laws and contractual obligations. Other options don't fit here. Conditional access deals with authentication and access policies, not compliance transparency. A VPN is a network security tool, but it does not outline compliance or data protection obligations. Therefore, the correct combination is Microsoft Trust Center and Data Protection Addendum. Question 13. For each statement below, indicate whether the answer is true or false. Data policies in managed environments define which connectors can interact with data. True. Data policies can prevent accidental sharing with unapproved platforms like social media. True. Data policies are optional but recommended for consistent data management. True. Data policies automatically expand storage for all environments. False? Let's walk through the reasoning. First, it's true that data policies in managed environments specify which connectors are allowed, helping administrators control business versus non-business usage. Next, it's also true that these policies can prevent risky data transfers. For instance, blocking sensitive business data from being accidentally shared to platforms like Twitter or Facebook. Furthermore, it is correct that while data policies are optional, they are strongly recommended for maintaining consistent governance across environments. However, the idea that data policies automatically expand storage is false. Data policies govern connector usage and data movement, not capacity or storage limits. So the right set of answers is true, 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 and false. Question 14. Which two administrative tasks can be performed in the Power Apps Maker portal? Select two answers. A. Manage Dataverse tables and relationships. B. Configure tenant-level DLP policies. C. Assign Microsoft Entra roles. D. Access flows created for an environment. The correct answers are A. Manage Dataverse tables and relationships, and D. Access flows created for an environment. Here's the reasoning. Managing Dataverse tables and relationships is one of the core functions of the Power Apps Maker portal, allowing makers to build and organize the data structure directly. In addition, flows created for an environment can also be accessed within the Maker portal, so administrators can view and work with them there. On the other hand, configuring tenant-level DLP policies happens in the Power Platform Admin Center, not in the Maker portal. Similarly, assigning Microsoft Entra roles is done within Entra ID and not through the Maker portal. So the correct administrative tasks for the Maker portal are managing Dataverse tables and relationships and accessing flows created for an environment. Question 15. A financial services firm wants to ensure that only authenticated clients can log in to view sensitive account information through its portal. Which Power Pages capability addresses this requirement? Select one answer. A. AI-powered Copilot. B. Dataverse. C. Security model with authentication and permissions. D. Custom templates. The correct answer is C. Security model with authentication and permissions. Here's the reasoning. The security model with authentication and permissions is what ensures that only authorized users can log in and access sensitive information within Power Pages. This framework allows administrators to define roles and permissions so that portals remain secure and accessible only to authenticated clients. AI-powered Copilot, while useful for assisting in site creation, does not manage authentication or restrict access. Dataverse handles data storage and management, but without a security model applied, it does not secure access on its own. Similarly, custom templates focus on design and branding, not on access control. That's why the correct answer is security model with authentication and permissions, as it directly addresses the need for secure client logins. Question 16. Fill in the blanks by selecting the correct options from the drop-down menus. To use Copilot in Power Pages, the enhanced data model must be enabled in your environment. Here's the explanation. Copilot in Power Pages relies on the enhanced data model because this model ensures the proper structure and features needed for Copilot to function effectively. If the model is not enabled, Copilot will not work as expected, since it depends on that setup to process and generate responses. Options like disabled are incorrect because that would completely block Copilot from functioning. Similarly, an external database is not required, as Copilot works directly with Dataverse. And the default SQL model doesn't apply here because Power Pages is built on Dataverse, not on SQL by default. So the correct choice is Enhanced Data Model must be enabled. Question 17. For each description, drag the correct Power Pages Design Studio workspace into the correct match column. Each item may be used once, more than once, or not at all. Design and build web pages, organize navigation, and add content in a low-code environment. Correct match is Pages workspace. Apply corporate branding and manage global site styles. Correct match is Styling workspace. Model and manage Dataverse tables, forms, and views. Correct match is Data workspace. Configure authentication and permissions. Correct match is Setup workspace. Monitor and manage site security. Correct match is Security workspace. Here's why these answers are correct. The Pages workspace is where users design and build web pages, arrange navigation, and add content using low-code tools. The Styling workspace is responsible for themes, branding, and global site style management so that the portal maintains a consistent look. The Data workspace allows visualization and modeling of business data with Dataverse, including managing tables, forms, and views. The Setup workspace handles authentication and permission settings, ensuring that only the right users can access the portal. Finally, the Security workspace focuses on protecting and monitoring the site's overall security. Unused items like Developer Workspace relate to advanced pro code scenarios outside the Design Studio, and Template Workspace is accessed through the Template Hub, not as part of the Design Studio. Question 18. For each statement below, indicate whether the answer is true or false. The Learn Hub provides guided tutorials, documentation, and videos for building and extending sites. True? The Solutions area allows you to access or create solutions in the current environment. True. The Template Hub is used to manage Dataverse data. False. Power Pages Home gives makers a single view of all sites in an environment. True. Here's the explanation. The Learn Hub is indeed designed to help makers, administrators, and developers through resources such as tutorials, documentation, and videos, so that statement is true. The Solutions area is where you can create or access environment-level solutions, making that also true. The Template Hub, however, doesn't manage Dataverse data. Instead, it provides pre-built templates for quickly creating new sites, which makes the statement false. Finally, Power Pages Home gives a consolidated view of all existing sites within an environment and even allows new ones to be created. So this is true. So the correct sequence is true, false, true. Question 19. In the Data workspace, what is the purpose of the Table Data tab in the Table Designer? Select one answer. A, to manage table permissions for external users. B, to generate list components for pages. C, to configure authentication providers. D, to add new columns and rows to a table. The correct answer is D, to add new columns and rows to a table. Here's the explanation. The Table Data tab is specifically designed for direct modification of Dataverse tables, which includes adding new columns and rows. This makes it the right answer. Managing table permissions for external users, however, belongs in the Setup workspace, not in the Table Data tab. Generating list components for pages is done using views, not directly in tables. And configuring authentication providers is also managed in the Setup workspace, not here. So the correct purpose of the Table Data tab is to add new columns and rows to a table. Question 20. Fill in the blanks by selecting the correct options from the drop-down menus. Power Apps can be used to design simple apps like vehicle inspection forms and complex apps for purchasing processes. Here's the explanation. Vehicle inspection forms are a good example of a simple app because they are straightforward, requiring only basic fields and minimal logic. On the other hand, Purchasing processes represent a more complex business solution since they often involve multiple steps, approvals, and data integration across systems. Options like dashboards don't fit here because while dashboards are a feature, they are not described as apps in this context. Similarly, email automation is a process that may be automated, but it wasn't listed as an app example in the lesson. So the correct combination is vehicle inspection forms for simple apps and purchasing processes for complex apps. Question 21. For each statement below, indicate whether the answer is true or false. Canvas apps give app makers full control of the UI and data connections. True. Canvas apps can only connect to Microsoft data sources, not third-party ones. False. PowerFX formulas in Canvas apps function like Excel expressions. True. Canvas apps cannot run on mobile devices. False. Here's the explanation. Canvas apps are powerful because they give makers complete flexibility over both the UI design and data connections, so the first statement is true. The second one is false, since Canvas apps are not limited to Microsoft data sources. They can also connect to hundreds of third-party services like Salesforce or Dropbox. The third statement is true because PowerFX, the formula language in Canvas apps, works much like Excel expressions, letting makers easily add logic and functionality. Finally, the fourth is false because Canvas apps can run not only in browsers but also seamlessly on mobile devices, which makes them versatile for business scenarios. So the correct answers are true, false, true, false. Question 22. Fill in the blanks by selecting the correct options. The gallery control is used to display a list of records, while the form control is designed to display or edit individual records from a data source. Here's the explanation. A gallery is always used for displaying multiple records at once, such as showing a catalog of products or an employee directory. On the other hand, a form is used when you need to display, add, or edit details for a single record at the record level. Other options don't apply here. A button is meant to trigger actions, not to display records. A slider is used for adjusting numeric values, not for managing or displaying records. So the correct pair is gallery for lists of records and form for working with individual records. Question 23. For each Agent Builder benefit, drag it to the correct description. Each item may be used once, more than once, or not at all. Takes over repetitive and time-consuming work. Correct match is automate daily tasks. Guides users step by step for efficient and accurate tasks. Correct match is streamline workflows. Frees resources for strategic goals and innovation. Correct match is enhance business efficiency. Here's the explanation. Agent Builder shines by automating daily tasks, such as sending follow-up emails or updating support tickets, which helps reduce the manual workload. It also streamlines workflows by guiding users in real time, ensuring tasks are completed both accurately and efficiently. Finally, by taking care of repetitive work, Agent Builder enhances business efficiency, freeing up employees to focus on higher-value, strategic activities. Other options like Scale to Fit or Auto Layout Container are unrelated here since they deal with app layouts in Canvas apps rather than agent functionality. So the right matches are automate daily tasks, streamline workflows, and enhance business efficiency. Question 24. A loan application process needs to reduce errors and delays by checking document uploads and verifying eligibility in real time. Which Agent Builder capability is best suited? Select one answer. A. Automate daily tasks. B. Streamline workflows. C. Enhance business efficiency. D. Metadata and goal alignment. The correct answer is B. Streamline workflows. Now let's break it down. Streamline workflows is the right fit because it ensures that processes like document checks and eligibility verification happen step by step and in real time, reducing errors and keeping the application process smooth. Automate daily tasks, on the other hand, is better for repetitive actions like reminders, not multi-step validations. Enhance business efficiency describes the overall outcome, but doesn't explain the step-by-step process here. Metadata and goal alignment is more about structuring agents, not guiding users in tasks. That's why Streamline Workflows is the best match for this scenario. Question 25. For each statement below, indicate whether the answer is true or false. Sharing via Microsoft and security groups helps assign roles to many users at once. The correct answer is true. Co-owners can reshare the app with others. The correct answer is true. Users automatically gain access to any Excel file used by the app. The correct answer is false. The Manage Access option lets you review, update, or remove existing permissions. The correct answer is true. Now let's go into the explanation. Using Microsoft Entra security groups makes it easier to assign roles because one role can be applied to many users at the same time, simplifying administration. Likewise, co-owners are allowed to not only edit, but also reshare the app with others, which supports collaboration across a team. However, app sharing does not automatically grant access to underlying files such as an Excel file in OneDrive or Dataverse tables, so those permissions must be granted separately. Finally, the Manage Access option is important because it provides a single place where you can review permissions, update users, or even audit who has access. This structure ensures both collaboration and control are maintained effectively. Question 26. A company creates a sales dashboard app. Regional managers should only see data for their own region. Which approach ensures this requirement is met? Select one answer. A. Restrict access to the Share button. B. Use role-based security in Dataverse. C. Assign everyone as co-owners. D. Enable orientation switcher. The correct answer is B. Use role-based security in Dataverse. Now let's go through the explanation. Restricting access to the Share button only limits the ability to share the app, but it does not prevent users from seeing all the data. Assigning everyone as co-owners actually broadens permissions, giving users too much access instead of restricting it. Enabling orientation switcher is only about adjusting screen display between portrait and landscape modes, so it has no relation to security. On the other hand, role-based security in Dataverse ensures that managers only see the data they are authorized to, such as records for their own region. For example, a regional manager in Europe would only see European sales figures, while one in Asia would only see Asian data. This way, data visibility is kept both secure and relevant. Question 27. For each model-driven app component, drag it to the appropriate description in the correct match column. Each item may be used once, more than once, or not at all. A property that defines characteristics of a table, such as email address, correct answer is column, defines the navigation for the app. Correct answer is sitemap, used to display data graphically in the form of a pie chart or bar chart. Correct answer is chart. Ensures consistent step-by-step handling of a business task like invoice approval. Correct answer is business process flow. Now let's move into the explanation. A column is simply a property of a table, such as an email address or phone number, and it defines the type of data stored. In contrast, the sitemap determines how users move around the app by organizing navigation between different pages. Similarly, a chart is used to visualize data graphically, for example through a pie chart to show distribution, or a bar chart to compare performance. Finally, a business process flow is what keeps tasks like invoice approvals structured and consistent, ensuring users follow the same step-by-step process every time. This makes the app both user-friendly and reliable for business operations. Question 28. Arrange the following stages of building a model-driven app in the correct order. Instruction. Drag and drop the items into the correct order, starting with the first stage at the top, model business data, define business processes, compose the app, configure security roles, share the app. Now let's walk through the explanation. First, you begin by modeling the business data, because without a solid data foundation, no app can serve its purpose effectively. Then you define the business processes to ensure that tasks follow a clear and consistent path. Once those elements are in place, you move on to composing the app by adding views, forms, and dashboards that bring everything together. After that, configuring security roles becomes crucial to control who can access what data and features. Finally, the app is shared, making it available to users with the appropriate permissions. This sequence ensures both structure and security before release. Question 29. Which feature in a model-driven app layout can be enabled by the app maker to simplify navigation? Select one answer. A. Pinned rows. B. Jump bar. C. Collapsible groups. D. Heading bar. The correct answer is C. Collapsible groups. Let's go through the explanation. Collapsible groups are the right choice because they allow app makers to organize sections in a way that reduces clutter and helps users navigate smoothly. On the other hand, pinned rows are more of a user-level shortcut for quickly accessing records, not something an app maker sets up in the layout. Similarly, the jump bar belongs to the list view and helps with alphabetical navigation, but does not fall under app layout configuration. Finally, the heading bar is used to highlight important columns and forms rather than simplifying navigation. That's why collapsible groups are the feature that directly supports better navigation in a model-driven app. Question 30. If an app will use Dataverse, what factors should primarily guide whether to build it as a canvas or model-driven app? Select one answer. A. Whether the app can connect to Excel. B. The device brand used by employees. C. The purpose of the application. D. The number of developers on the project. The correct answer is C. The purpose of the application. Now let's break this down together. The main reason the purpose of the application is key is because Dataverse supports both Canvas and model-driven apps, so the real question is what the app is meant to achieve. For example, if the app is task-focused with a highly customized user interface, a Canvas app makes sense. However, if the app is process-focused and requires structured workflows, then a model-driven app is the better choice. On the other hand, Excel connectivity doesn't decide this because both app types can connect to it. Likewise, the device brand used by employees isn't the deciding factor once Dataverse is chosen. Finally, the number of developers doesn't matter much because Power Apps is designed for low-code and no-code development. That's why the deciding factor is the purpose of the application. Question 31. Which two benefits are specific to modern controls in Power Apps? Select two answers. A. They automatically adapt to the app's theme. B. They allow object recognition in images. C. They improve accessibility for users with disabilities. D. They extract data from business cards. The correct answers are A. They automatically adapt to the app's theme, and C. They improve accessibility for users with disabilities. Now, let's go through the reasoning. Modern controls are designed to automatically adjust to the app's theme, which ensures consistency in design without extra configuration. Additionally, they are built with accessibility in mind, making apps more usable for people with disabilities. For example, ensuring screen readers can interpret elements correctly. On the other hand, object recognition in images falls under intelligent controls, such as the object detector, and is not part of modern controls. Similarly, extracting data from business cards is handled by the business card reader control, which is separate from modern controls. So the real advantages here are theming support and improved accessibility. Question 32. Which two statements are true when sharing a Canvas app with others? Select two answers. A. You can grant access to individual users or Microsoft Entra security groups. B. Co-owners can delete the app and transfer ownership if needed. C. You must also ensure users have access to the app's underlying data sources. D. Save as is required before you can share an app. The correct answers are A. You can grant access to individual users or Microsoft Entra security groups, and C. You must also ensure users have access to the app's underlying data sources. Let's break this down together. Granting access can be done directly to individual users or more efficiently to Microsoft Entra security groups, which makes managing permissions easier across teams. However, just sharing the app itself isn't enough, because users also need permissions for the app's data sources, such as Dataverse tables or Excel files. Otherwise, they'll run into errors. On the other hand, co-owners cannot delete the app or transfer ownership, so that option is incorrect. Similarly, Save As is just a duplication feature and has nothing to do with the sharing process. That's why the two correct answers here focus on granting access and ensuring underlying data source permissions are included. Question 33. For each concept related to process mining in Power Automate, drag it to the appropriate description in the correct match column. Each item may be used once, more than once, or not at all. Provides a transparent view of actual workflows using system data. Correct answer is process mining. Highlights where inefficiencies and bottlenecks occur. Correct answer is bottleneck identification. Creates process maps to visualize variations and deviations. Correct answer is process mapping. Integrates seamlessly with a low-code automation platform. Correct answer is Power Automate integration. Monitors cycle time, compliance, and other performance metrics. Correct answer is dashboards. Now let's move into the explanation. Process mining gives you an X-ray view of how processes really work by analyzing event data. Meanwhile, bottleneck identification helps uncover delays or inefficiencies, such as slow approval steps in a workflow. In addition, process mapping creates clear visual diagrams, allowing deviations from standard processes to stand out. Furthermore, Power Automate integration ensures that process mining fits smoothly into a low-code automation environment, making adoption easier. Finally, dashboards track KPIs like compliance and throughput, much like a car dashboard shows speed and fuel levels, helping businesses stay aligned with goals. Question 34. For each statement below, indicate whether the answer is true or false. Process mining can compare different teams' workflows to determine which is more efficient. Correct answer is true. Comparison features in process mining require manual side-by-side analysis outside the tool. Correct answer is false. Custom reports in process mining can be tailored to track metrics like error rates or processing times. Correct answer is true. Process mining dashboards are limited to showing workflow steps but cannot monitor KPIs. Correct answer is false. Now, let's walk through the explanation. Process mining can indeed compare workflows between teams, helping organizations adopt the most efficient practices. On the other hand, comparison is automated within the tool itself, so there's no need for manual side-by-side analysis. Moreover, custom reports give flexibility to track performance metrics such as error rates or task durations, much like adjusting filters in a report to focus on problem areas. Finally, dashboards go beyond simple workflow visualization. They also provide key performance indicators like cycle time, throughput, and compliance, which are critical for continuous improvement. Question 35. Fill in the blanks by selecting the correct options from the drop-down menus. To build a cloud flow, you first choose a trigger, then add actions, and finally customize the flow with details like recipients, file paths, or conditions. Now, let's go through the explanation together. The process begins by choosing a trigger, which is essentially the event that determines when the flow starts. For example, receiving an email could serve as the trigger. Next, you add actions, which are the specific tasks the flow will perform, such as sending a notification or updating a record. Finally, you customize the flow by defining parameters like recipients or conditions, ensuring the automation fits the exact scenario. This step-by-step sequence is what makes Power Automate both flexible and powerful. Question 36. A company wants workflows that can adapt automatically to different conditions, handle repetitive data entry tasks, and make real-time decisions about approvals. Which Power Automate features make this possible? Select one answer. A. Loops and branching. B. Templates and dashboards. C. Scheduled triggers and approvals. D. Data operations and connectors. The correct answer is A. Loops and branching. Now let's walk through the explanation. Loops and branching are what bring adaptability into workflows because they allow repeated actions and dynamic decision-making based on conditions. For example, a loop can process multiple records, and a branch can decide whether to approve or reject a request instantly, making workflows both flexible and intelligent. On the other hand, templates and dashboards are helpful for starting automation and reporting, but they don't allow adaptability once a flow is running. Similarly, scheduled triggers and approvals control timing, but don't provide flexible branching within the logic. Finally, data operations and connectors handle integration and manipulation, not adaptive decision-making. That's why loops and branching stand out as the right answer here. Question 37. Which scenario is best suited for a do-until loop in Power Automate? Select one answer. A. Iterating through a list of survey responses to send emails. B. Routing invoices above $10,000 to a manager. C. Retrying to send an email until it is successfully delivered. D. Assigning tasks based on priority levels. The correct answer is C. Retrying to send an email until it is successfully delivered. Now let's go through the explanation. A do-until loop is designed to keep repeating an action until a condition is met or a limit is reached. For example, if you're sending an email and it fails due to a temporary issue, the do-until loop will retry until it's successfully delivered. On the other hand, iterating through a list of survey responses would use an apply to each loop instead. Likewise, routing invoices above $10,000 to a manager would rely on a condition branch, not a repeating loop. Finally, assigning tasks based on priority levels fits a switch branch where choices are evaluated, not repeated. Therefore, the best use case for do-until is retrying an action like sending an email until success. Question 38. Fill in the blanks by selecting the correct options from the drop-down menus. Approvers can respond to requests not only through Outlook, but also via Microsoft Teams, Power Automate mobile app, and SharePoint. Now let's break this down for better understanding. Microsoft Teams is correct because approvals can be integrated directly into chats and channels, making it convenient for users who spend most of their time in Teams. Power Automate mobile app is also correct since it allows users to respond to approvals on the go, adding flexibility through mobile access. SharePoint is another valid option because it supports approvals within lists and libraries, enabling direct decision-making within the platform. On the other hand, Excel is only for data handling, not for approval responses. Dataverse stores data but isn't an approval tool, and OneDrive is file storage, not a method to approve requests. That's why the correct choices are Microsoft Teams, Power Automate mobile app, and SharePoint. Question 39. A team lead wants to monitor workflow performance metrics, such as task completion times while traveling. Which Power Automate feature should they use? Select one answer. A. Templates from the home navigation pane. B. Analytics in the Power Automate mobile app. C. Ask a chatbot for help. D. Environment switching in the desktop app. The correct answer is Analytics in the Power Automate mobile app. Now let's go over why this is the right choice. Analytics in the Power Automate mobile app is correct because it gives real-time insights into workflows, such as task completion times and performance tracking, which is exactly what the team lead needs while on the move. Templates from the home navigation pane are useful for quickly building workflows, but they don't provide monitoring capabilities. Asking a chatbot for help can offer guidance, but it doesn't deliver performance analytics. Environment switching in the desktop app is designed for managing environments, not for tracking or analyzing workflow performance. That's why the best choice here is Analytics in the Power Automate mobile app. Question 40. For each statement below, indicate whether the answer is true or false. Copilot allows you to create cloud flows by describing requirements in natural language. True. Copilot only works with pre-built templates and cannot handle unique scenarios. False. You can modify existing flows with Copilot by typing prompts like delete action X. True. Using Copilot requires advanced automation experience. False. Now let's walk through the explanations together. The first statement is true because Copilot can interpret plain language, such as when an email arrives, send a notification to Teams, making automation more accessible. The second statement is false, since Copilot goes beyond templates and can handle unique scenarios tailored to specific needs. The third statement is true because Copilot supports modification prompts, like add notification or replace action, giving flexibility to update flows easily. Finally, the last statement is false because Copilot is designed to be simple enough for beginners while still powerful for advanced users. That's why the correct sequence is true, false, and false.